In a world full of challenges, there are incredible people making a difference, one cause at a time. KFGO for a Cause, brought to you by Neil Van Dam and the Van Dam Financial Group. KFGO for a Cause shines a spotlight on organizations and individuals dedicated to positive change.
Neil is back in studio. Welcome back.
Good morning.
And I'm Amy Eiler, usually here Monday through Friday from 11 to 2, but I hang out on Sunday mornings with Neil and cool people like Pat Munson, who's in the studio with us again. Pat, welcome back to KFGO.
Oh, hey, it is so great to be here for a cause.
Yes, and you are here for a cause. Live like Rach. You've heard Pat here on KFGO before. And just wait, we're only about a month out, and Pat's going to be all over our airwaves again in March, because March is Colorectal Cancer Awareness Month. We like to say action now, right? What are we doing? We're aware that colorectal cancer exists, but let's talk about Rachel first. Tell us about Rachel, the Rachel in Live Like Rach.
Well, the reason that we call it Live Like Rach is because she lived. She only lived for 36 years, but everyone said that in those 36 years, she crammed as much life as she could into 36 years. She traveled all over the world. She saw things and did things that most people don't do throughout their lifetimes. She had friends, close friends from kindergarten. If she made a friend in kindergarten, they remained a friend through life. In fact, when she passed away and in the ICU room at Memorial Sloan Kettering, she was surrounded by friends from elementary school, kindergarten, elementary school, high school, and law school. They all surrounded
Amazing.
her bed, right?
Yeah.
And one of the doctors came in, and she and I, one of her attending physicians and I, had been talking that week about expecting a miracle. And I said, well, we didn't get our miracle. Rach was obviously, not going to make it. And I said, well, we didn't get our miracle. And she said, look around this room. She said, this is your miracle.
Yeah.
So, Rach, when you met her, you were her friend. She lived in New York City. She loved the city. She loved the things that the city offered. She was a lawyer there and was in sales for an international company, so that's why she traveled as much as she did. She was married to a young man from the UK, so they traveled to England several times. She had a practice in the Philippines, so she was in Manila several times. Dan worked in Afghanistan, so they would meet in Dubai. Just the other day, I was looking through some pictures of their trip to Dubai, and I was like, it's just so funny. I remember whenever he would leave to go, she'd say, "Do buy me something gorgeous." That's Rachel.
Yeah, I love that.
That's Rach. But she was always making funny things. In the course of her illness, no one knew she was sick. She was diagnosed in October of 2015, and nobody knew she was sick until she wrote a blog in the fall of 2018, which was just a couple of months before she passed away. And she always said, I don't want anyone to know that or consider me to be the girl with cancer.
Yeah.
And no one ever did. She had chemotherapy for 3 years, radiation, surgery, massive surgery. I was out in New York for a couple of months as she went through the surgery and recovered. She came back here for a year and underwent chemo at Roger Maris. But it was funny. I'd drop her off at the front door, and she'd go in. I'd say, I'll come sit with you. Nope, I'm going to work. She took her laptop in. She worked every day that she was sick. She continued to work. Never looked sick. I know she was, but never looked sick. She took some time off after the surgery because it was a horrendous surgery. They do the ostomy bag. And she hated it, as you can imagine,
Yeah.
And so it was like, Mom, come take care of the bag. And so I did. I'm a lawyer, for Pete's sake.
Yeah.
Why didn't I go to med school? Right? I could have gone to med school. It would have been a whole easier thing. But here I am taking care of this ostomy bag. But I did it,
Yeah.
You do it.
Yep.
You've got no choice. You do it. And then she had the reversal. They did they reversed it. And that was another surgery out in New York City. And so, frankly, and then, she passed away at Memorial Sloan. And I haven't been back to New York since. I just can't. I don't think I can. I'd like to at some point, but I don't know that I can.
But you are busy because you have taken this cause and you have ran with it.
Yeah.
And even Neil said before we went on the air, wait, is there something in the bathrooms of DMF that you put there? So already making an impact. But one of the things that's so important to talk about are the signs and symptoms, because Rachel did have signs and symptoms and doctors blew her off.
Yeah.
And it is a practice, and they call it a practice for a reason. So we're not, but we need to take our health into our own hands sometimes and advocate for ourselves. So what are the signs and what are the symptoms? And you saw something interesting in the bathrooms of DMF, right?
Well, there was more to that conversation. I said, I was at a urinal and it said, did you check your poop for blood today? And I thought, who's pooping in these urinals? But then again, it was, should they be at urinals? And absolutely, because here we are a couple months later and
still talking about it.
I mean, of all the nonprofits we have on here, it was I think about that most times.
Oh, that's wonderful.
I mean, I don't check my poop for blood at the urinal, but
you do.
But it does make you think about it for sure.
And frankly, I don't know how old you are, and I won't ask, but you appear to me to be of the age where you should be. You're young. Rachel was young. She was 33 when she was diagnosed, but she'd had symptoms for quite a while before that. And the doctors didn't think anything of it. They diagnosed it as a hemorrhoid. And yet her hemoglobin levels were so low for such a long time that it was an indication that she was bleeding somewhere internally. And that would have been a tip-off to, any doctor that further studies should have been done. Maybe not a colonoscopy, but if you had taken all of her symptoms together, that would have led to further diagnostic tests and then a colonoscopy. Her doctor, the third doctor, and this happens in so many cases. The first doctor misses it. If the first doctor catches it, your chances of survival are in the 90% range. Think that, 90%. Second doctor, it drops to like around 70%. Third and fourth doctors, where they found hers, or stage 4 when they found hers, drops down to 13%. So when they found hers, it was stage 4. They found a tumor in her rectal area that was so large that no one told her that the chances were 13%. They don't know. She didn't want to know, and they didn't tell her. But catching it at stage 4 it drops precipitously, as you can see, from 90% at stage 1 to 13% at stage 4.
What are the guidelines for colonoscopies now?
Well, 45.
Okay, 45 is
the recommended
supposed to be your
age.
first one.
Yeah. So when you reach 45, then insurance will cover it. However, if you have a family history of it, so it's 10 years. If, for instance, in Rachel's case, obviously we have a family history of it, and Rebecca, her sister, Rach was diagnosed at 33. Then it would be 10 years before that, before she was diagnosed, that Rebecca would have gone in for a colonoscopy, so 23.
Oh, okay.
But because she was, I think Rebecca at that point was 32. No, I'm sorry, not with 30. She would have been 30. Rebecca went in to have a colonoscopy right away. I mean, she was pregnant, but after she delivered, she went in and had a colonoscopy right away. And she was on the 3-year plan, the surveillance plan. So if you have a family history of it, then you you go in more frequently.
Right.
And of course, if you have symptoms, then you want to go in. That's why we have those signs all over DMF in all of the restrooms that say, they're the emojis that say, do you check your poop for blood? The creative team at DMF they're spectacular to work with. They came up with that right away. It's
I love it.
fantastic. It does, yeah.
If you are a business that are willing to put this in your bathroom,
absolutely.
liveLikeRach.com, contact Pat, and they'll come over and
or Tara at DMF.
Okay.
Tara's got the info, or me at Live Like Rach, and we'll get those out to you. Put those in your bathrooms, bars, especially restaurants. We want to get those out in Fargo-Moorhead, and just think of the lives that you can save. And that is our goal. Rachel's life could have been saved if a doctor had taken her seriously, or if she had known about the symptoms that she had and how serious they were.
Right.
If she had known that. And so that's why what we do is to try to get the word out that these symptoms, blood in your stool, low hemoglobin, if you've got weight loss, like a sudden weight loss, cramping, stomach cramping, lower abdominal cramping, all of these together or just separately, constipation, bloating, people just pass that off. But if you have those symptoms, on a continuous basis, that could be an indication of something very serious. So don't overlook it. Contact your doctor.
Be your own advocate.
That is the biggest thing we say when we sign off. That is our mantra. I pound the table and I say, you have to advocate for yourself. There's nobody else that's going to take you under their wing and say, except me, but that's going to say, you have to get in there and say, I need help. I need medical help. Maybe not a colonoscopy, but take a look at me physically, perform an exam, and take a look at me, talk to me, listen to my symptoms, and don't just send me out the door and say I have a hemorrhoid.
Right.
Nobody checked.
Right.
Nobody checked to see if Rach had a hemorrhoid. How hard would that have been?
Right. Yes.
I mean, I still don't understand that, and you can tell how passionate I am about a hemorrhoid.
Yeah.
It's like, if you're going to diagnose a hemorrhoid, at least check to
Find
see if
the
it's
hemorrhoid.
there.
Yes,
Please
yes,
check to see
yes.
if it's there. So anyway.
Neil wanted to start with an inappropriate story.
We were just talking over the break. One of my really close neighbors passed away a few years ago. She was very young. I don't know her exact age, late 20s, early 30s. So a very similar story.
Colorectal cancer.
Colorectal cancer as well. So just if you're young and you're thinking this doesn't happen, this is a one-off story. I mean, it's not true. And then, of course, with Camp Casey, we run into all sorts of kids can get cancer. Young adults can get cancer. It's not just older folk issue.
Right.
So me personally, I do have a family history, same as well.
Of colorectal cancer.
Yeah, and as a man, the idea of colonoscopies and things like that aren't exactly the most fun topic. And
I'm going to tell you a secret. Women don't like it either. It's not just a man thing. You don't get to own that uncomfortable
I was a
feeling.
young military guy.
Oh,
and,
okay.
So you're tough. We're out to sea.
Yeah.
And I remember I told one of my my chiefs that I'm like, I'm having this issue, that exactly what we were talking about, and he's like, you need to get that he was smart, and I would have never got it checked out if he didn't tell me to. And I just remember going to the doctor, and of course we're on a military base, and he's like, okay, well, he did his job. He's like, I need to do the exam. And I just remember saying to him, like, I was hoping you wouldn't say that. And he looked at me and kind of smirked, and he said, trust me, it's not the highlight of my day either. So if you're a physician out there that's thinking, maybe I don't want to do this exam, or maybe we could just blow this off, that one line totally changed my mood of like, okay, we're both in this together. We're just trying to make sure things are good.
Yeah.
And And I think that's probably the reason why when I saw the sign, it just stuck with me. But it is one of those things that just people don't talk about because I mean it's an awkward area of the body. It's an awkward thing that's like, oh, it's probably I haven't eaten enough.
We all poop.
We all poop.
Yeah, but I agree. I mean, it's the process of elimination, and it's not pretty, and we all do it in privacy. My dog follows me into the bathroom, and I don't even like that. It's like, really? Could you just leave me alone for a minute?
But talking about this young, also, like, must have been a good outcome. Like, you either caught something early, right, with yourself. Not that that I need to talk about that, but like,
but what a relief!
What a relief! But the young onset of colorectal cancer, the statistics.
Huge.
I remember you taught us this last year. The statistics are that this is on the rise with young people, right?
Yes, it's going up so that right now we see this imbalance of there are more, the percentage of people with early onset cancer, colorectal cancer is higher than those in the like 50, over 45 percentages of colorectal cancer. And they think that's because, one of the reasons is because there are more people over 45 now getting screened for colorectal cancer, so they're catching it. But also because there are a greater number of young people who are actually getting the disease. And there's research going on all over the globe to determine just why that is. And there are a number of reasons that they're kind of honing in on. And I mean, a lot of it is it's very scientific, and I'm trying to keep up with the studies. But one of the main studies has to do with the microbiome. Have you heard of that? It's in your gut, and it's how we process food. It's what we do with the food that we eat.
It's like the healthy bacteria, right?
It is,
yeah.
And the unhealthy.
Sure.
The unhealthy that we put into our body, and a lot of that is what young people do. They drink, they smoke, they eat heavily processed foods. When you're out drinking at night, what do? You drive through McDonald's and get a big stack of French fries. I remember Rach would do that on occasion when she and Christy and Jamie and they'd be out late at night and they'd come home and that was one of the things that they would do back 30 years ago. Oh, sorry. And so that was it was very commonplace, and it still is today. And so that's one of the things that we're trying to get across to young people is you've got to watch your diet, you've got to watch your weight, cut down on the alcohol, cut down on the processed foods. There are things like that you can do to really stave off the onset of cancers, not just colorectal cancer, but other cancers, and heart disease too. So those are some of the scientific studies that are being done. One of the things that we're talking about is some of the other diagnostic tests. There's a blood test now that they're using. It's called Gallery. It's not all that. It's a blood test, but that's all it is. Really, is just a blood test, and it's not used for diagnosis purposes. It's used just as a screening tool. So a lot of people have asked me about this. It's like, can I do that instead of getting a colonoscopy? It's like, oh, good. I don't have to have a colonoscopy. I can just go in and have a blood test. It's a screening tool. It's not a diagnostic.
Right.
So you need to go in if there's an issue with your DNA, if it pops up that you may have some trouble with a concern within your colon, you still need to go in for that colonoscopy. I think the biggest thing that we want to do with Live Like Rach is to make sure that people are aware of the signs and the symptoms. If you've got them, and check your poop for blood. Get in for your regular exams.
Yeah.
Know your family history.
Yeah.
Is there anybody in your family that's had any kind of a polyp, cancerous or not? Have they gone in for a colonoscopy and the result has been troublesome? Have they had surgery? Have they had a polyp removed? because that can be an issue. So talk to your parents, talk to your grandparents about this, and start young. Start when you let your kids know when they're in elementary school. Yeah. If you've got a history of it. That's when you need to start getting away.
And let them know it's normal to look at their poop.
Exactly.
And check their poop when they're young.
That's when you need to start doing away with the stigma of talking about poop.
I love it. LiveLikeRach.org is where you can find them. Pat Munson has been with us. You can find a lot of resources and some staggering statistics too on the website. Yes. And see Rachel too at LiveLikeRach.org. Pat Munson, thank you so much for being here. Appreciate it.
My pleasure.
And Neil Van Dam, thank you.
Thank you.